Hello and welcome to beatingdyslexia.com. In this video we're going to be looking at the definition of dyslexia. Well, actually, to be more precise, because the condition is not fully understood, I'm going to give you a couple of definitions of dyslexia for you to consider and compare. However, I also want to show you that a precise definition of dyslexia is not as important as having a strong, positive attitude towards coping with your dyslexia. Okay, before we get stuck into this section then, I want to read you an abstract from a scientific journal article written by L. Smith, University of Wales, Newport, 2011. If you want to read it yourself, there's a link to it directly below this video. The first line of the abstract reads, "Despite over 100 years of research, dyslexia continues to be controversial because of the failure to agree on a definition and underlying causes, as well as the funding implications." What the author is simply saying here is that after 100 years of research, we still don't really know what causes dyslexia and what dyslexia is. And this was written in 2011. I think that's an important idea to bear in mind before we start looking at possible definitions of dyslexia. Okay, first of all then, what does the word dyslexia mean? Well, the word dyslexia itself is a Greek word that literally means difficulty with words. Now, I think this is a nice simple idea to bear in mind, that if a person is dyslexic or described as dyslexic, it means they have a difficulty with words. Now, let me give you the classic definition of dyslexia. Dyslexia occurs when people of high or moderate IQ are unable to develop literacy skills that reflect their intelligence. Some people these days now consider this definition to be flawed, mainly because relating dyslexia to IQ level is problematic. One of the main problems is that you don't need a high or even average IQ to learn to read. Actually, some people with low IQs can read very well. Links to the research evidence that this is based upon can be found at the bottom of this page. Now, the problem with IQ tests is that we don't know how much of an accurate measure of intelligence they are. The main argument is that we don't fully understand what makes a person intelligent, and to attempt to measure something that we don't fully understand seems a bit silly. Okay, moving on then to the scientific definition of dyslexia. This considers dyslexia to be a literacy-specific problem regardless of IQ level, social background, or quality of education. Now, this basically means that dyslexia is when a person has difficulty reading and writing and spelling, and there is no clear reason why. Okay, now I'm going to give you a rundown of a few main points I think it's always important to remember. Number 1, dyslexia is a literacy-specific problem. Number 2, dyslexia can affect anyone regardless of how high or low their IQ is. Number 3, it is unknown if IQ testing is a true measure of intelligence. Number 4, knowing an IQ score is of no real value. Number 5. There is no limit to what a person can learn and the knowledge they can accumulate in a lifetime. And number 6. Holding a strong mental belief that you're an intelligent person has great practical applications, such as for the confidence to continually learn and develop, and for the motivation to never give up learning and building knowledge. Okay, to sum up then, a very straightforward definition of dyslexia is when a person has difficulty learning to read and write. Now, I'm sorry if this seems like a bit of an overly simplistic way to put it, but at the end of the day, do you really need a long and complicated definition of dyslexia? I think the only thing a person really needs to know is how dyslexia affects them negatively, and what are they going to do to beat it.